Thank you. Now I feel like bad about saying this first card now. So I'm completely freelancing here because I'm trying a new kind of style where I just talk a little more from my heart and a little about my experiences and try to go less with the slides and less kind of rehearsed, but I always try to get a couple little notes. And one I want to share with everybody the blame Chet story quickly. I won't tell the full details of it, but basically Chet was working at a place and something went wrong. Has anybody ever been at a place where something went wrong? Right. And has anybody been at a place where we suddenly have to decide who that person is because we need to take them and rake them over the coals? We need to, yes, hopefully it wasn't you, but it's just a complete waste of time. What we need to do is solve the problem and move on. So after the big witch hunt started, and it started getting bad, Chet said, "It was me. I did it. I made that mistake." And people knew that it definitely wasn't Chet who made the mistake. But suddenly it became quite silly to continue looking for someone who had caused the problem. And everyone realized, let's just move on and get to the work. So if you have a problem at work, you just say, it's Chet's fault. And then you can get back to things.
That was me.
But you made this work now, so no, yes. Oh, it was your fault. You should have told him to remove his dongle, right?
Sorry.
Okay, now I gotta finish the QA team story too. So I'm gonna run out of time and that will be your fault as well. So I was working at a company and you're just started and it's brand new and here's all the developers and I met the big development team and quite large and coding away and learning about their process and they say you do this work and then you give it to the QA. And so I'm thinking in my mind we've got 2, 3 QA because we had about 12, 13 developers. But no, the whole next section was QA in fact. We had just as many QA as we did developers. They figured 1-to-1 ratio was probably pretty good. Now the problem with this is that the developer's approach was that I don't even have to test my code at all. Like, oh, it compiled. Here, QA, look at it. Well, that's their job, right? How many people out there are testers? Ah, that's wrong. I'll try again. How many people out there are testers? Okay, closer. The answer is everybody. If you work at a company, your job, your responsibility is to be testing in some way. Okay, there's my QA story. Let's get to what I wanted to talk about now. This is a little game. I started a little game because I've always been working and doing 16 million projects at once and I always had these little things that I wanted to do and I never got a chance to do them. So I've been changing my schedule around so that I did have time to do them. But I got to a home project and I said, I want to run these things at home, but I've got all this great learning that I've been doing and I've been going to companies, I've been setting them up to do things properly and doing test-driven development, but I want to take all these practices to my house. And how does that look like? How does that look like when your development team turns into one? And what kind of support do I have? What kind of software? I don't have a big web server. I don't have all this stuff set up. So what can I do? So after some hunting around, I came up with kind of a solution that I'd like to share with you. And hopefully you can do this. What I wanted to do is simplify the way of getting an idea and getting some tests for it, getting some code, and getting it to production. How quickly could I do that and repeat my feedback cycle? So, first of all, I'll do a great little demo of my game. This is a childhood goal here to show a game off live too. So yeah, this doesn't reset. Okay, here we go. Loading in, very exciting. And so what this is, 2 parts to this game that happens is, one is your own little front end that you can build, but it actually makes API calls to the services. So I have a game server that runs, and so you make these API calls, like I have a city, and I need data back on that city. So I'm gonna move here, click, my guy moves. And very, very simple. It'd be great if I had the keys, but you know what? I don't know how to do that yet. So I'm just gonna press buttons on the screen, because it's easy. If you don't have code that works, it's no good to anybody. The first step is getting it working. Chet was talking about TDD cycle, and the big mistake that people make is when they make a test pass, they make it amazing. And that's not the approach you should take. You write a failing test, you make it pass, and that is horrible code, terrible code. It's the refactoring phase where you clean up and you make it really good. That's where the smarts come in. So just get that test back to passing again. All right, I'm digressing a little bit. Let's, you guys want to see the game though, of course, how it works. So I'm gonna I can walk through the trees, these trees. I don't know if the business owner likes that or not. And I go into my town and I've got, look, it's called Pemsbrook, and it's pulled in some inventory of the town. The idea is that you could buy and sell things. Has anyone played Zork before? That's going way back, okay. It's a text-based game, right, from a long time ago. But that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to type things in here and say, you know, buy this, or, you know, search the area, and things would happen. So I'm the only person this game has to really please. But I'm doing little tricks here because I want to be able to make it look okay. So I got some free graphics from the internet. And I'm using, this is all with Bootstrap. And this is where the big part comes from, is that, as you can see, it's hosted up on a website. And I've just got kind of a default name here from Heroku, but you can give it your own name. Let me go to a little web server here now, or the website. And this is my dashboard in Heroku. I've got a few little projects up here. The one we're just looking at is here. And it has a bunch of information about it here. So this is a great tool for a hobbyist because this will build your whole DevOps pipeline for you. You can make it as sophisticated as you want. If you want to have it actually running tests on that, you're going to have to fork over a little bit of money, but you can start off with just having it host the site for you and push it up. And you can attach it to Git and have that working too. So I have a project setting up in GitHub, and I'm not on the page. Anyway, I can come back to that. Multiple things going on at once, as always. So you can see here, it shows when any builds happen. Okay, but you guys are saying, these are just nice pictures, Brian. Let's actually see some action. So we're gonna go to our code and actually do some live coding here. And I'm gonna go to my index page. Where's the page? It's loud silence. Yeah, didn't have this already. Is it in here? There it is. Okay, and I think the whole title is up here in my base. And I'm going to change this to say, I love Portugal. Okay, so I've got an idea, and I now coded it. I didn't write a test for this at all, chat. But how fast can it take me to get this into production? Let's give it a really good message update. Yeah, but you know what? Who cares? I know what I'm doing a little bit. If it has to put the information in, then I will. If the message needs to be meaningful, then make it meaningful. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. How quickly can I make this stuff happen? Because that's what I want, is I want a quick turnaround. Because what's important is the learning. So here I am live in production. Gonna refresh. Would have been great if that loaded in right away. Oh, I wanted to show this. I wanted to show all the stuff that was happening here. There's no way people can read that. A bunch of things happened here though. Like it went through and said, oh, Heroku said, oh, you're using Python. So it has a bunch of different languages it can support, right? It gives me some information about it, and it goes through, installs all the requirements that are needed. It takes care of all of this work, really helped me do it. So I don't have to worry about having, because I don't have, as you can see, I don't have an operations tag here. I don't know how to do operations. That's okay, Heroku's gonna take care of that for me. It's wonderful, saves me time. So it runs this whole thing, and it didn't work. What's that? Oh, I changed the title. I love Portugal.
Fix it.
Have I mentioned pair programming? I did, right in the title. Look at that. Okay, I'm not going to blame that one on Chet. I'm going to take that one myself. So you go into this file, and you go, here it is. All right. All right. So there's my get status. I'm going to change. Message. Hi, chat. Push it, and we'll just kind of watch it, kind of scripting through here. So pressing source files, takes it up. It reads, it detects what type it is. It does everything it needs to do, and you can expand this. You can have like a database on this and everything. I'm going to show you some Heroku stuff here in a second. All right, let's go back to our code. Refreshing. And there you go, it's not Chet's fault. You're off the hook, buddy. Okay, so that was quick. How long does it take your stuff to get to production? Normally. I mean, if I ask you, and I ask this when I go to work with companies, I'll say, I found a typo on your webpage. Because that's about as simple a problem as I can think of. There's a typo on your website. How long does it take to fix? So let's just shout out some numbers here. 4 hours? Someone else could shout out too. Go ahead. 1 day? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a week. I've heard a week to fix a typo. And I remember when I was like working for a company in like '94, and what we would do, this was our DevOps, is we would code it, look at it in development, drag it onto staging, open up a staging browser, look at it in staging, smoke test there, well, great. Drag it onto production, email the customer, it's done. Which is like, people are like horrified. They're like, oh my God, you can't do that. There's so much bad in that. But from the customer's perspective, there was a lot of good in that too. So how come as technology progressed over 20 years, we got so much slower? There's no excuse for it, and DevOps is kind of our answer to get out of this. Using these tools and automating and testing. Testing gives us the security so we can do crazy stuff like that. Okay, I have a couple things here. First of all, the program, I said it was like an API that was getting hit. And this is it here. It just says, okay, what do you want? This is called Dungeon Amp. The idea is that anybody could hit this, and you could build your own interface. Maybe you want to build a mobile one, because you don't like mine, and that's fine. And we could say, well, it's got some generic stuff in it too, like hello, name equals, I'm going to keep picking on Chet. It says, hello Chet, how are you? So the API is interacting with us, right? We can go look at the code, and I tell you, this is horrible code. So any Python developers out there, I'd love you to come and say, hey, I'd do that differently. Oh, here's our tests we're running. Important to have the tests. And I'll do this for chat. See, they're all passing. And this is in the API one. As we go through this, there's all kinds of tests here together. And people say, well, wait a sec. You've got unit tests, and you've got integration tests. They're all like living in the same place. That's bad. You've got to separate all those. And you know what? I just ran them I ran 21 tests, and I don't know how long was that? Do you want to time that?
0. I said 0 milliseconds.
Okay, get ready, get ready. Go. Oh, stop. Yeah, 0 milliseconds. It's not even registering yet, so don't worry about it. I'm trying to get you in the philosophy of how fast can I do this? How fast can I learn what my customer wants? When the tests are taking too long to run, then fix it. Okay? Then separate them out and say, oh, well, okay, now I'm going to have the integration running here and here. But if it's not a problem, don't fix that. Focus on the other problems, the more important ones. Okay, so I have my API. What did I say I was going to show after that? Oh, the test. We did the test. I got distracted on the test. That's what happened. Oh, wrong window. So as we go through, I just want to show you the app part of it. And it's all, and this is kind of, if you haven't seen this before, this is kind of how things are done now. This is, we'll see talking about JSON and REST, and we'll make requests like this, and we can make a request to the server like this, you know, in that directory, and it'll reroute it. It says, well, what do I do with that? And it says, well, if you get that, I want you to go get this map in this JSON file up here. And likewise, there's one for towns, and there's one for cities, and here's all the city information stored. And really, it's like a database. You say, well, Brian, you should have made a database for that. You should have spent like 4 days and built a database, right? I said, no, I can just throw something together here. And I didn't put 200 towns in there, which I would need to have a full big system in that. I just kept it really, really small. So, one last thing, I'm watching the clock, and that's a great clock. This is a beautiful facility. I didn't mean it's just nice, I mean it's actually in a good spot. I'm gonna come back here to Heroku and show you this. So this is what, you know, it's programming in Heroku is what I was talking about. These are my different apps, but they give you a dashboard, and if I look at this, I can see logs on it. I can see how much resources it's taking up. And that, which resources it's using. I can get metrics on here for it. I can do access. I can give other people access to it. Another project, I have Chet and Wouter both have access to. Shows all the activities, so you can see all the steps that are going in. And as Chet has said, your steps should need to be small. So all these things we're talking about, all these ideas, you can take them and use them for your home hobby project and all that. And Heroku is a great tool to help you. And GitHub's free to use, Heroku's free to use, and both of these will scale as you need to. If you suddenly get some success and you start hiring on more and more developers and teams, well, then you can use them. Anyway, I think that's the whole message. I want you to leave with the thought of do things in small pieces, keep it simple. Find the simple way to do it and do that. Thank you very much.